Protecting private healthcare data is paramount for any organization handling medical information. I'm joined by Karthik Krishnan, CEO of Concentric AI, to talk about improving data security posture for PHI.
Happy to be here, Scott.
So, Karthik, one of Concentric's customers is an S&P 500 manufacturer of medical devices that they use for diagnostics, surgery, medical imaging. Can you give us some background on the company?
Of course, as a medical devices manufacturer with over 5.5 billion in revenue, they are in clinical trials all the time. They are constantly exchanging data with hospitals, clinics, and patients. And even though they're officially in the manufacturing sector, they run one of the most data-intensive operations that I've ever seen.
So, what kind of data security concerns do they have?
They have the exact same security concerns as every other healthcare organization. Plus, they also have a lot of intellectual property. Clinical trial data is a good example. It has PHI, sensitive product information, and test results, and they have a lot of it. Losing it exposes them to privacy, data liability, and intellectual property loss, possibly to their competitors.
So, what were some of the specific areas that they were most concerned about?
When we first met, they were laser focused on PHI or privacy health data. Because of their interactions with patients in the field, they have an enormous amount of exposure and a responsibility to protect it. But much of that content is unstructured. They were struggling to first find it, and because they couldn't get a good handle on all of their critical PHI data, they couldn't effectively monitor it for at risk or be able to protect it.
Right, right. So, what was it that attracted them to Concentric in particular?
Concentric solution for identifying PHI is very mature and accurate, and so that was a big motivator. It also works out of the box without them having to do a lot of work up front. And once they did a test drive, they saw that we didn't just find their PHI, but we also gave them context around document types and risk that a simple discovery tool just couldn't provide.
So, when they first started up with Concentric, tell me how that process went.
We did a proof of value with them using a subset of their own data. They were impressed with two things. First, our solution is very fast. It was able to scan their data and give them not just insights into the different types of PHI data, but also where the risk was. Much faster than some of the alternatives that they tried. Secondly, they saw how easy and accurate it was to get the results. And the results they were getting back, they were able to validate were extremely accurate. And in the past, they'd been used to handwriting rules and regular expressions. They just didn't need to do any of that anymore. And that really got their attention.
Got it. Yeah. So, what did they learn about their patient data?
It was a lot more dispersed than they thought. We scanned their databases as well as their unstructured content across Windows file shares and Box repositories, and found PHI data that they didn't know existed. In one case, a legacy database had PII that they weren't managing at all. In another case, we found unstructured data with PHI in it that they were in locations that they weren't expecting to find it at. And some departments in their company had been using folder-based access control. And the reality of modern collaboration environments is data can move around and sprawl to locations that you least expect to find it at. And that's exactly what we found for them. Not only did we find it, but we were able to find where there were scenarios of risk that they could then go and remediate and significantly lower the odds of data loss.
Right. So, once they understood what they had, what was next? What did they do to improve their data security posture?
Once they knew what to fix, they used our remediation tools to update permissions, entitlements, disable access on data, and move towards a least privileges data access governance model.
So, Karthik, I'm actually interested in what you learned working with this large healthcare customer.
It's always interesting to see how companies of different sizes struggle with data security. You'd think staffing issues would be a much more prevalent issue for smaller companies, but sometimes big customers also struggle with the exact same issue. They really don't want to have large teams writing rules, administering a solution, managing false positives. And so there's just a huge craving in the industry now for solutions that can work out of the box and give them accurate results without necessarily burdening their security staff.
Well, Karthik, thanks again for the chat today. I really enjoyed learning about how semantic intelligence is helping data security posture management for this large healthcare manufacturer. Appreciate it.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.